Good afternoon to you all. The year started with one goal in mind, and that was to make the most out of the Atenean student life. This was planned to be achieved through three main aspects, namely to build the unique but interrelated identities of each school board, to strengthen the community spirit of the Loyola schools, and to engage in nation-building initiatives and projects. This mid-year report aims to review what has happened in the past few months and give a preview of other things that the Sanggunian will be doing in the next few months until the end of this school year. As we move towards more crucial times in the history of our university and the country, the Sanggunian is continuously being challenged to find more and more its role in cultivating the Loyola schools community. In the past few years, a lot of changes in terms of structure and systems have been made in the Sanggunian. In the year 2009, dubbed as the term institutionalization, this was used to work towards the goal of bringing back the Sanggunian in the map. That year, many initiatives were done, including the holding of an alternative class program and running the Ateneo Task Force 2010 for the then upcoming presidential elections. The following school year, we tried to streamline the different units of the Sanggunian to decentralize tasks and give them to people who are more fit to perform the said activities. This gave rise to the creation of the auxiliary Sanggunian departments which we have today. We have 5. In the next few months, much of the internal activities of the Sanggunian will continue to revolve around these departments and the school boards. Much focus was also given to engagement and issues outside of the Ateneo, and this brought out key problems in Philippine society that the different school boards tried to address. Last year's administration tried to bring back the Sanggunian whom they truly belong, the students. Certain policy changes were discussed, like the revision of the tricycle rates, and various structures for student feedback were strengthened, such as the Ateneo Student Concern Center or the ASC. The grant consultation finally went to full circle, and representation to the school committees was utilized by using it as an avenue to relay student concerns and proposals to the school administration. Fast forward to this year, and again, as I said, we only had one goal in mind after a rigorous strategic planning process, and that was to make the most out of the Atenean student life. Let me tell you some of the initiatives that we have done in the past few months, which I think made true, in partial or in full, some of the goals we have outlined at the beginning of the school year as soon as we were elected, in order to make the Sanggunian a better organization, a better student government for you. The first thing that we worked on was to work on the internal development of the Sanggunian. Again, with the rise of departments and offices, we have 5 auxiliary departments, 2 service departments, and 4 paying offices. It is important to make sure that their progress, as well as that of SAMU's other officers, be done well. Membership in these departments and offices combined are estimated to be around 150 to 200 students. And while this might mean more hands for SAMU, the welfare of these officers should also be made a priority through projects that would enhance their training and development. For our block and force reps, this training program was made more streamlined, and those who excel at their work were given more chances to develop their leadership skills. Aside from the usual Sanggunian internal awards, usually given after the first semester, outstanding reps were given a chance to represent the school in the just recently concluded Nino and Cory Aquino Leadership Journey, an event which will hopefully make them discern what their leadership calling is even after this school year. Throughout the second semester, extra attention will also be given to our freshman representatives as they will embark on a more rigorous training process. The Sanggunian Information Program, or SFP as we would like to call it, will ultimately start with this batch of freshmen. So you freshmen are kind of lucky to have this. And this will hopefully transform into a more streamlined 4-year formation process which will make them more ready for bigger responsibilities, bigger positions in the years ahead, and as well as avoiding burnouts which usually happen in the middle of the school year. All school boards were tasked to institutionalize themselves by creating their own school logos patterned after SAMU's to highlight their own autonomy. CB departments and offices followed suit. Let me now go on to another goal which we did, or we tried to do this school year, which is to increase transparency and visibility in the Sanggunian. This has been a major issue in the past so many years, as soon as I entered college. And that is why we tried to make Sanggunian more visible through our different activities, our different initiatives in the past few months. Given the difficulty in making students participate in the meetings, particularly our CB meetings every Friday, more effective means of disseminating what happened in these meetings are being done. This is being made possible by our revitalized Department of Public Relations as well as the Office of the Secretary General. The first goal that has been achieved is to release and update on a more regular basis Sanggunian's primary avenues of dissemination, like Sanggunian 60 Seconds, which we had around 3 for the first sem, and the online Sanggunian Post, which tried to highlight activities that Sanggunian did in the recent months. We also had 3 for the first semester. We had the constant updating on the Sanggunian page. There again, this is Office of Secretary General. And I would like to highlight that we are not perfect in terms of making these as constant as possible, and this is one thing you'll work on in the next few months to be able to have a more efficient and more effective dissemination of these programs. Aside from this, other means which can make the students participate in policy making or discourse was also revitalized, and which you might see as you walk along the steps of the Loyola schools, such as summarizing in meetings, be in the know, and the just recently finished sample moving boards, which will be released next week. We also have the Freedom Wall in our own sample EDSA walking board. Third, we wanted to improve our streamlined consultation process. Through the Department of Research or Statistics, or DRS, we have now an instituted panel of 200 members with distribution according to LS population by school and by year, in which primary data on the perception of Ateneans regarding different issues can be obtained much quicker than before. One great output for the first semester was a report on the Facilities Improvement Survey. It was forwarded to the Budget Committee of the Loyola schools. One output of which was the putting of lines in the parking spaces in north and east carports. And that is with the help of the Office of the Finance Officer and our representatives to the Budget Committee, Billy Dumalia and Joben Dumalia. Personal consultations by the block, course, and our own central board representatives will of course still be of utmost importance, but this will give us a scientifically tested means of accurately seeing what Ateneans think. This has been the practice ever since, but has not been done as accurately as I can say it has been today. This has also been a more important process in terms of checking our constituents in times of calamity and disaster through our institutionalized constituency checks with the help of ARSA and COA and the Dream Team Student Arm. Let me now move on to the central part of this talk, which is a more issues-based central board, the highest policy-making body, the highest governing body of the Sanggunian. The central board has been working very hard in doing its twofold task of policy-making and representation. While a lot of activity has been going on in various school committees, especially Curriculum, Budget, and Discipline Committee, the CB also released its own stand on various issues. In ensuring that ample time was given for more discussions inside the board, fixed dates have been set for budget hearings, unlike the previous practice when they only tried to propose a school board whenever, they tried to propose a budget whenever they wanted to. So starting this school year, we tried to set permanent dates in order to ensure that the remaining central board meetings will be left for discussions on issues and policies both inside and outside the school.